Good evening, everybody. Let's go ahead and rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome this evening. If you happen to have a cell phone on you, if you would be so kind as to turn it off or silence it during the meeting, we would appreciate that. If there are any members of the public who wish to address the board, the slips are out in the lobby area there. If you would be so kind as to fill one of those out for us so we can call your name appropriately. With that, let's go to the first item on the agenda. Callie, roll call, please.
Cheryl Armstrong. Here. Jeff Branson.
Here.
Dave Erb.
Here.
John Hedges. Ashley Overton. Here. Jacob Uphoff.
Here.
And Dale Ryder.
Here. Mr. Hedges is not with us because I think he's traveling back from Muhammad now. He went up there to watch his daughter and the boys and girls cross country team compete at the Apollo Conference Championships. I am told on good information that his daughter Alana and Kaylin Ryan both were all conference on the girls' side. Let's move on to item number 2, reception of visitors. Item 2.1A, Green and Gold update.
We have Mrs. Beach and some students here to present.
Outstanding.
And Ms. Crockett.
Thank you all for allowing us to present today, and thank you for inviting us. If the t-shirts don't fit, shoot me an email and we'll make sure that they fit for you guys.
Mr. Branson's complaining because you gave him.
I
He thinks you're making a
hopefully
statement.
I gave you one that was too small. It's a compliment. Okay.
It's fine.
That was well done.
So last Wednesday, we had our Green and Gold Day, and we had over 22 locations that our groups from all of our schools in our district visited, and we had nearly 60 different groups engaged in those service events. And along with that, we were able to host Franklin Covey, and there were over 85 Franklin Covey visitors that came and visited, which we were super grateful for. They broke up with different wave times and they paired off and they got to go serve with our students. So we were very, very grateful to have them and for them to go serve with us and see what we do on Green and Gold Day. Okay, I'll go first. I'm Elena Nolte. I'm a senior here at the high school. In the past, on Green and Gold Day, I've done different events such as serving at the hospital. I've served in the elementary schools here locally. And then this past year, I started off at Lyft in the morning, so we did things a little bit differently. I went over to the Arthur Pumpkin Patch, and we picked pumpkins since it's pumpkin season, just to kind of help them out. We picked over 3,000 pumpkins in a span of 2 hours, which was really, really cool. We took a group of 30, so that was our service project this year.
Hi, I'm Molly Stewart. I have been doing Green and Gold Day for 3 years now. I did it with my wave time, and I got to do it as a junior this year. And the cool thing about doing that at Lyft is that you get to go out into other communities. So I went to Charleston, and I helped the firefighters with painting fire hydrants, which is cool because they need to get 600 done. We got 20. But hey, that was their goal for us. Our goal was 15, and we did 20, so I think we did pretty well ourselves.
My name is Connor Weaver. I'm a senior. So my freshman sophomore year, I went with my wave time. My freshman year, we went to Fit to Serve and helped out at the garden. And then my sophomore year, we stayed at the high school and we cleaned some of the rooms, wiped the tables off, swept the floors. And then my junior year, I was at Lyft, so I got to deliver a bench at Sullivan. It was a memorial bench for one of their band directors that died in an accident. And then this year, I got the unique opportunity to go over to Williams Elementary and help out Mr. Shadwick and Chrome Depot. We just got a bunch of backlog Chromebooks fixed and things like that.
My name's Chloe Frederick. I'm a sophomore at Gratiot High School. I will be a sophomore, so I don't go to Lyft yet. So both years I go with my wave time. My freshman year, we went to Fit to Serve, and we picked a bunch of veggies and washed them. And then my sophomore year, we went to Riddle, and we did run club with the kids, and then we made kindness rocks and kindness bookmarks, and we hid those in the library.
I'm Olivia Hughes. I'm a junior at Mexican High School. My freshman and sophomore year, I went with my wave time. We went to Lake Charleston. We just picked up around the area, beautified everything. And then this year as a junior, I got to lead a group for Easy Recycling, which if you don't know, it's Eastern Illinois Area Special Education. And they teach work and life skills to people 14 to 21, and we just got to help them out, especially with the backlog from the water crisis. And that was a unique opportunity to just get a plan that whole thing.
All right, so as you heard many of our student speakers, we go with our wave times. It helps foster a community. For those of you that are unaware, wave time is the first part of our students' day. They get to meet with a loopy community of students and they get to plan this service. The emphasis is on the students planning and selecting where they're going with the teacher supporting them. And sometimes the facilitator has some really great ideas and more scaffolds for the student groups that need it. So my group this year took me to a nursing home that we've never gone to before. And our hope is to instill values. When I asked my students when we got back, did you learn anything today? They said overwhelmingly yes. They learned how to have conversations with people they wouldn't have otherwise talked to. They learned how to engage with people. They learned how to plan. I had one student make all the phone calls, something that she wouldn't have done otherwise. So our students have a unique opportunity to learn and plan, and that gets to grow every year as they go on another trip.
So the staff feedback, the glows, or the positive things that they take away from it are having other people serve with us. It helps show students the importance of selfless service, even with adults. We also have another glow of we made a heavy push for more service, and as a result, more groups focused on meeting their need. And lastly, students updated their resumes with their service directly after completing their projects. And then a couple of our grows, when we get feedback from our community and we ask who wants our help, who wants to be served, we want those requests earlier. We want to know who wants our help, who wants us to come out and do those projects. So just getting that feedback earlier and knowing who we can go serve and who wants us to come out into that community. And then also teaching our students that service is selfless and it's not selfish. Just continuing that lesson. It's not about what we want to do or what makes us happy, but it's rather about stepping up even when we're uncomfortable and we feel like this is out of our comfort zone. So it's not about us. And that's just a lesson that we can use all throughout the school year, but especially on Green Gold Day.
We also noticed an overwhelming amount of positive community responses this year, so we took the time to put some of them up there. This is the year that we've had the most groups leave the high school than ever before. We only had 1.5 groups stay on the campus, and one painted and one did the first responder cookout that always happens. So most people are going out to the community.
So one of the things that students did, not only high school students and middle school students as well, they went to Fit to Serve. They went to both their garden, their community garden and their regenerative garden. They pulled weeds and plants, and then they washed all the vegetables that they had there, and they donated 130 pounds of produce to the Matching Foods pantry.
Hope Christian Preschool was one of the ones that we had a wave time go to. Selfishly, I wanted to talk about this because my daughter goes there. And I have a second grader at Williams, and I have a preschooler there. And I asked her, what she did. She talked about all the fun stuff that they did, and some of the students that came back. I was like, how's Brimley? And they're like, she talks a lot. So they kept her busy, and they did a great job. And then we also had some that went to the Lincoln Fire Protection District. They go every year, but they went to a new location last year.
Okay, and then Mr. Clapp's wave time, they went to the Doggy Depot, and they just cleaned up the grounds, they sanitized everything, they moved furniture around, just made it more habitable and fun for their clients and the dogs that attend there.
We do have some more slides with some pictures, but this QR code contains all of the pictures. So we have teachers that were taking pictures of the students that we're serving, and so if you're interested and you want to see that, if you scan that QR code, then that'll take you to like hundreds of pictures on that day.
But if you just want a sampling. And our kids are very busy. This is just a sampling of the kids that could make it today because there's so many sports, and just an even small sampling of the kids that went out in the community. So if you know a high schooler or even an elementary school kid, ask them about their Green and Gold Day. So, thank you.
And before we go somewhere, first of all, thank you to the faculty members, to the students. Thank you for the presentation. More importantly, thank you for your leadership among your fellow students in directing them through and guiding them through some of these activities. One of the things that old people like myself and a handful of people in this room say they're concerned about with young people is they have trouble talking to people. They have trouble making eye contact with people. They have trouble seeing that the world is bigger than just themselves, and what you're doing out in the community, you're teaching those students exactly the opposite of that. Thank you for doing that. That's a big deal. Thank you. Mr. Hedges, you want to come up and take your seat? And maybe you'd like to give a report on the cross-country team, and maybe anyone in particular that you saw race today?
Yeah, my daughter is Apollo Conference. She got 7th place at the Apollo Conference meet tonight, and her teammate got 8th place tonight. And the girls finished 3rd, I think, overall. So,
Takes after her mom. Thank you, John. Welcome. Okay, item 2.2A, non-agenda visitors. I don't have any slips. Very well. Moving on to item 3 on the, that is the consent agenda. It does require board action to go through the items on the consent agenda. Item 3.1A is the regular board meeting approval of minutes, the regular board meeting of September 9th of this year. 3.1B would be approval of minutes from the special board meeting of the same date. 3.2, which is under payment of bills. 3.2A, presentation of the bills for approval. Item 3.2B is the monthly financial reports by fund. Item 3.2C, the year-to-date budget report. Under item 3.3, the monthly enrollment report. That includes item 3.3A, amend the August and 6-day enrollment reports. 3.3B, the September enrollment report. Let's go to item 3.4. That is approval of Mattoon High School overnight trips. 3.4A, excuse me, MHS FFA Build Conference, which is November 27th and 28th of this year at Illinois State University. 3.4B, Mattoon High School FFA 212 Conference, January 30th through the 31st, 2026 in Carbondale. 3.4C, the MHS JROTC Archery Nationals, May 14th through the 16th of next year in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Item 3.5, approval of the resolution to regulate expense reimbursements pursuant to 105 ILCS 5/10-20. Item 3.6, approval of the Freedom of Information report. That is the entirety of tonight's consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Cheryl Armstrong makes a motion. Is there a second? Second from Ashley Overton. Is there any discussion on the board as regards the consent agenda? Seeing none, Callie, we call the roll, please.
Yeah, Branson,
Yes.
Erb,
yes.
Hedges,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Uphoff,
Yes.
Armstrong,
Yes.
and Ryder.
Yes. Item 4, reports and recommendations of the business manager. Mr. Gear.
All right. I've got several tonight. All right, get a new toy, let's see if it works. There we go. All right, 4.1, board action to accept agreement with Blue Cross Blue Shield as a school district's health insurance provider for the 2026 calendar year. So the premium cost of the district plan will include a 15% increase. We worked with our First Mid Insurance Group on this. This is actually from last year. We locked in a max increase this year of 15%. If we hadn't done that, when we met with First Mid last week, we were looking at 45 to 50% increases in our premiums. So the good thing is we locked in at 15%. Bad news is it still went up 15%. So we have some work to do on that before next year. So we don't see those big, large increases. We'll start that much earlier in the process this next year. We'll probably start that in January talking about it. But For this plan, the rates, the single deductible PPO increased from $2,000 to $2,250. The family deductible went from $6,000 to $6,750 for the PPO. The deductibles for the health savings account, the HSA, remain the same as last year. So when when teachers or employees see a 15% increase to the overall plan, that doesn't mean what they pay out of pocket goes up 15%. So it's built into our MEA contract, which MESPA follows as well, which also goes with the administration and any employee of the district. There's some language in there that says that we take the least expensive plan, and we go up and we take our board share, which was supposed to be $795. We take the difference between that amount and the minimum plan. We take 50% of that. So the board share is going to go up to $853 when it was scheduled to be $795. So increase on that, but then that'll also affect the employees. Theirs will go up as well. Actually, depending on the plan, it could go up more than 15%. So that's kind of the complex way of going through that. So like I said, First Mid Insurance Group worked with this. We met with our 2 associations last week to discuss the plan. So we've gone through the process here. So we recommend that the board accept this plan with Blue Cross Blue Shield for the 2026 calendar year.
Ryan, what's this increase compared to what was budgeted for? In terms of
I'd say it's a little bit higher than what I had budgeted for. So we're going to have to be careful when we get in the second half of the year. And I'll keep track of that, and we'll have to, make some adjustments as we go with some other parts of the budget.
Understood. Other questions from the board? Okay, do I have a motion to accept the agreement with Blue Cross Blue Shield as the school district's health insurance provider for the 2026 calendar year? Yes. Motion from Jake Uphoff. Is there a second? Yes. Second from David Erb. Any discussion on the board?
It does start January 1 then.
January 1. Yeah.
Other questions or discussion? Kelly?
Erb,
Yes.
Hedges,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Uphoff,
Yes.
Armstrong,
Yes.
Branson,
Yes.
Ryder.
Yes.
All right, thank you. 4.2, presentation of the 2025 certificate of tax levy for the district for action at the November 12th board meeting. So no action on this tonight. This is just informative. Tentative property tax levies must be on display at a separate meeting before they're acted upon. We'll hopefully act upon this at the November 12th meeting. But again, no action will be taken on this tonight. So again, just as a review, a levy is the amount that the district asks for. So that's what we'll do in November. Then the extension is the amount of money that the county collects and gives out to the district. Okay. So we will ask for a tax levy. I will supply that approved by the board, send that to the county clerk. The county clerk takes the assessments from the different township assessors, puts it in there, assigns appropriate tax rates to the operating fund, and then processes the tax bills, receives the money, and then sends it out to the district. So the 2025 tax levy is for the FY27 school year. So it's way down the road. So the money we're receiving from the county this year was from the 2024 tax levy, which was last November. So we're kind of behind, and the dates get a little bit complicated because they're so far apart. So we are a tax cap district. That limits the increase over the prior year's extension on existing property to 5% or CPI, which is Consumer Price Index, whichever is lower, and that's basically the rate of inflation. All right. So we plan to levy for 4.99%. I'll explain that in a minute, and capture the 2.9% CPI growth. So last year, I think it was the date is I can't remember. Is it
January 15th is when CPI.
Yeah, January 15th, the CPI came out as 2.9. That's our cap for that. And you can see that the CPI has gone down the last couple of years. Those years that it was 4.99, it was actually higher than that, but we're capped. So that's what we captured was the 4.99%. Those were like 6.3%, 7.5% those 2 years, I believe, when inflation was really, really high. You can see down below those numbers back before 2020, inflation rates were much lower. So, I know everyone's dealing with that. And same thing with the district as well. All right, so this is what we had, what I levied for last year, or what we levied for last year is in the middle column. And again, we do it for those different funds. And then the 2025 levy is to the far right. So you can see we've increased the education levy. Again, salaries and benefits continue to increase along with the rising cost of instructional materials. All right, leasing, we no longer levy for that because we don't lease anything currently. Maintenance and utility costs continue to increase, so you can see O&M, we've increased a little bit. Special education, we've increased some because we're continuing to see special education numbers increase, and we've added staff for that this year, and we're gonna probably have to continue to do so as well as we move forward. We have decreased the levy for transportation here. Again, just trending costs are going down a little bit. The other thing is, when we talked about this 3 years ago, we said we really wanted to update our transportation fleet of Suburbans, activity buses, things like that. I think we've done a really good job of that. We're gonna hopefully finish that up this year, so we won't need as much money to purchase some of those capital outlay things as vehicles. So I've decreased the levy for transportation. And then IMRF and Social Security, we've talked about that over the last year and a half, is our unfunded liability. We're gonna keep that the same and then continue try to every year to pay down some of that unfunded liability with excess money in those accounts. And then life safety stayed the same. We don't spend, our life safety account is very minimal, so just continue the same thing there. So to go from 17,699,000 to 18,583,000 is a 4.99% increase. We do that. I've met with about 15 to 20 superintendents last Wednesday at a meeting where we all get together and discuss the tax levy. This is what majority of the school districts do. And the reason we do the 4.99 is we're entitled to capture the 2.9% increase on existing property. And then you need to levy more than that if you want to pull in the new construction. And if you don't do that, then you won't gather the taxes for the new construction. I talked to Michelle Babbs last week, who's the county assessor. She gave me some preliminary numbers for new growth, but she said, these are preliminary numbers. I'm not 100% sure yet. We don't know when the solar farm north of town is going to come online. When it does, that should be a big jump in taxes for that area. And we have some other construction projects. If you've driven around the community, there's a lot of stuff being built. So, able for us to capture as much of that as we can, we ask for 4.99%. The county will cut us off somewhere between 2.9 and 4.99. So if the new growth doesn't get us a 4.99, gets us to 3.7, the county has that stopgap that'll get us where we need to do. So this allows us to capture the 2.9% increase for cost of living raises, or cost of living, and then gather new construction. So that's what that is. So
the transportation fund levy, a decrease, recent trends, is that the updating of the fleet? Is that the?
That's the main thing. We've spent, around 150 to 200,000 the last 3 years each to update our Suburbans and our activity buses. And the other thing
So we're
is
spending less time fixing other things.
Right, and then our lease is gonna be coming to an end here soon too, so that's something we're gonna have to look out for in the future, because a new lease is probably gonna be more expensive than our current lease, but we still have another year and a half on that lease. So I'm just gonna keep an eye on that one. That's the one that's we have a little bit of a wiggle room on right now.
He's talking about the 33.
The buses,
Yeah.
the buses we see running around.
Yeah.
In addition, before Ryan moves on here, just for clarity, that 489,000 in special ed does not cover the cost of what it takes for us to pay for special ed. That's just a portion of what we can levy for. We also receive, in a separate entity, we receive evidence-based funding, which a portion of that comes out from a special ed perspective, but the majority of our expenditures for special ed staff, personnel, supplies, purchase service come out of that education fund. So I just wanted to point that out, even though we are increasing that because we've seen an increase in the need for additional staff, that does not offset that entire cost.
So I know I've thrown a lot of information at you in a short amount of time. So we have a month, so if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and sit down and talk, or talk on the phone or whatever. Email me questions, but and anybody in the audience as well, community members, email questions, and we'll be glad to answer them about this, because this is confusing, but this is a big part of, this is really one of the very few revenue sources that we have any control over. We don't control what the state gives us a lot of times. We don't control the grants. Transportation fund is dependent on our transportation reimbursement, is dependent on what the state allocates for it. So this is one of the very few revenue sources that we do have a little bit of control over in my world.
And we had a conversation this morning about it, but I love the way you explained it. And looked back at this, like December of 24, we had said a 4.99 that year too, but we only got the 3.4% because, so I want the community, I think, needs to look at that and go, well, we're raising our levied 5%, or 4.99, but it's not really actually that. For the individual homeowners, it's for the new construction. And I love the way you explained it to me this morning, so.
And I know some people had big increases in their taxes last year, 10, 12%. Again, we asked for 3.4% increase last year. If yours went up 10 or 12%, it was reassessed by the county at a higher value, and that's why they went up that much. So we're locked in, we're tax capped. That's what that's what our community voted for years ago, and that's why we do what we do.
And to, following on what she said, that's money that's already been collected. We're just asking for a portion of that money, that 4.99.
Like we're asking for the difference between what we're entitled to with the current to what's new, what's going to be built, what's being built this current year and finished by January 1st. Thank you. All right, thank you. No action again. Again, reach out if you have any questions on that. All right, let's spend some money. 4.3, board action to accept bid for replacement of lift chiller. We talked about this a couple months ago. Lift has been experiencing recurring issues with the chiller. The board approved soliciting bids for the new chiller at the August board meeting. The project was included in the FY26 budget using sales tax money, the 1% for this. The budget was approved at the September board meeting. Installation of the new chiller would take place over the winter, so we'd be ready for the spring. We had 4 companies give a bid last week, and the lowest bid was Industrial Services of Illinois, which is a Mattoon company, and for $352,764. So the administrative team recommends the board approve the bid of $352,764 from Industrial Services of Illinois to replace the chiller lift. Questions? Yes.
Brian, does that catch us up on chillers?
Yes. Yeah. So yes. I think I said this 4 months ago too, but this should get us there. This is the last building. The only one we haven't done a full replacement is Franklin, and Franklin is smaller pods, so that's easier to do because we just would do a pod at a time as we need to over there. This should be the last big one. Dustin, Tim, and I meet every Monday to talk through things like this and plan. And chill for the last 3 years, chillers has been a big one, and we're going to talk about gyms here in a little bit. So I think chillers are going to be done. Hopefully gyms will be done at every school here in the next 6 to 8 months. But yeah, this should finish out on chillers.
And roofs are coming.
You spent a lot of money in your early tenure.
I have. We're lucky we have the 1% sales tax because a lot of this maintenance has been deferred years and years and years because we didn't have this revenue source that we do have now, and we're using every bit of it.
And the chiller wasn't in a part of the full remodel. That was
Right.
original prior to us buying. the building.
Yes. Yeah. It just didn't hold up as well as we thought it would.
So I know we have these things that obviously we have to manage. I would like to see at some point some work done on the high school parking lots.
I got on my list. I hope, yeah. All I'll say is on my list.
All righty, do I have a motion to approve the bid of $352,764 from Industrial Services of Illinois to replace the chiller at the lift facility? Motion from Ashley Overton. Second? Second from John Hedges. Discussion on the board? Callie?
Hedges,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Uphoff,
Yes.
Armstrong,
Yes.
Branson,
Yes.
Hurd,
Yes.
Reiger.
Yes.
All right, so I talked about it a little bit already. 4.4, middle school facilities updates. Hash gym, which is what most people call the old gym, and the cafeteria, which are side by side. And a lot of the events that take place in one move into the other one as well. Okay, so they kind of go together. They share doors where you can go from one to the other. The Hash gym update, the gym floor cannot be sanded and sealed. It has not been sealed for years, right, Dustin?
Right.
Because it can't be. It is beyond repair. Boards continue to need repair and have been face nailed in place. We still practice on it a little bit. If you have kids who play basketball or anything on it, they're sliding all over the place because it just needs to be updated. Same thing in PE. Testing has shown that the concrete below the floor contains asbestos. So this is going to be an abatement of asbestos as well if we take the gym floor up. The bleachers have continued to need maintenance and repairs and need to be updated to meet ADA code requirements. And while we're doing all that, the gym is in dire need of a new paint job. So this would be the time to do it when the floor is not there. So we,
Just for orientation purposes, Hash Gym is the gym if you enter the main entrance of the building. It's the first one as you come in, just a little bit to the left. So this is considered from the MMS folks, the old gym has been for years. But it is not used as a competition gym currently. But we believe if the board approves to move forward with this renovation, that it could be used in the future.
Right.
So,
and we've added sixth grade boys and girls basketball. We've added some other sixth grade sports. So, we have added some more things where we could use some more space. Yeah,
Where does the name Hash come from?
great question.
Fred.
Fred Hash.
Fred Hash?
So Fred Hash was the principal of the Mattoon Junior High. I am not going to recall the dates off the top of my head, but he was there for quite a period of time, and it was named the Hash Gym when Jeremy Smith was principal. So probably back in the early 2000s when it was named.
I went to Humboldt Junior High, so I don't know. Show my age. All right, so we use it every day before and after school for supervision. We have PE classes, we have recess in the winter, dances, assemblies, like I said, that spill into the cafeteria, different resource nights and family nights, community events like the chili supper, which is great that we have in the winter. Sixth grade Discovery Day, band and chorus concerts, because that is the gym that has a stage, drama and plays, and also for summer sports camps and practices. So the scope of the project, what we would like to do is a general contractor bid with the Upchurch Group. They would take bids to remove the gym floor, do the asbestos abatement, replace the entry doors, and paint the walls and ceilings in that gym. We would then like to use TIPS procurement, which that's what we did at the high school, where you use a procurement company, which is TIPS. You can go out and choose one of their vendors and get a quote from them, and then you send it to TIPS, and they say, yep, that's in the acceptable threshold, so you don't have to go out to the bid process. Same thing with Omnia procurement with bleachers. We used Irwin bleachers for the high school out of Altamont. We'd like to do that again with those two procurements. It basically is a time saver, and we'd be able to work with some companies that we've already worked with, have a great relationship, and they did a great job on the last project that we had. And then we would also update the sound system, the scoreboards, and the wall pads. So like Tim said, that we could have events in there and have two functioning gyms at the middle school. Funding source, sales tax revenue, 1% for this year and for next year. So this would span over probably from about April, around spring break time, probably through the end of July, and hopefully be ready for the beginning of the school year. And then we would also like to use the ISB maintenance grant, which is a dollar match, $50,000 dollar match to help fund this as well. I'll talk about that one a little bit more in a minute. Tentative timeline, April floor and asbestos removal. May would be the paint, June would be install the gym floor and doors, and July would be install bleachers and scoreboard and be ready to go for the school. So that is the Hash Gym. Cafeteria updates. All right, the meal lines need updated to increase traffic flow. We have food service revenues that exceed our expenses, and the food service revenue is reimbursement received through the USDA and earmarked specifically for food service improvements. So when we did our last contract with Airmark, they give us a price that they charge us per meal. We get reimbursed by the USDA more than we pay for our meals. So there is a gap in that funding, or not funding, but we receive more revenue than we spend basically on meals. That extra revenue has to be spent on the food service program. It just can't be used to fix a gym or fix a roof. That money should go back into making the food service program better. So we have, over the last couple of years, we've built up a little bit of an excess. I put it in this year's budget to update that cafeteria and use that excess that we've had. That money is earmarked for food service. So it's not going to come away from anything else that needs to be spent on food service. Again, we use lunch, the cafeteria for lunch for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We have a wrestling practice in there. That's a unique thing. There are wall pads on one wall, so they can wrestle right up against the wall. It's used every day before and after school for supervision. Dances also spill into there from Hash Gym. Same thing with the family and resource nights, the community events, the Discovery Day, and the band and chorus concerts. Those kind of go together, those two gyms like we've talked about. So that would be that. Again, We would like to, on this one, use a different architect and go with BLDD Design. That's who designed Lift for us. And use them to design this space. Just clean it up for us, make it flow better, and things like that. The maintenance department, Dustin and his crew then would take care of lighting updates, door upgrades, which would probably go along with the doors for the gym. Wrestling wall pads could be updated, and another sound system. They use sound system in there, to corral kids throughout the day. So that would be upgraded as well, probably with the one in the gym. We would use the food service revenue, and that was approved in our FY26 budget. Again, timeline for this one, December drawing from BLDD. January would be the contractor bid proposal. February, board approve the bid. April, order the equipment. June, construction, and July, project completion. Again, with all school projects, everyone is trying to do this in June and July. So the reason we're bringing this to you in October is so we can get on a list and we can get this taken care of and moved in the right direction so that we have all our ducks in a row. So as soon as kids are out of our building, we're ready to go with our project. So we can have them for the first day of school. Okay, any questions on the two projects? Again, I got a lot of information in there.
Yeah, I think it's long overdue.
Yeah, there were dead spots on that floor when I was there. So, yeah, it's definitely time. Glad that we can do it.
And again, I think that we've updated Riddle and Williams gyms. We've done the high school gym. And then the other Wildcat and the other gym at the high school are fairly new compared to everything else. So this would probably be, we'd have all of our gyms updated as well. So we're kind of just going through a list of different things that we're upgrading throughout the district.
So I see the asbestos removals in April. Will there be students in
There will, we
for that?
can, so they'll seal off that and then they can go out the northwest corner. There's that hallway that goes to the northwest corner of the building. So they can seal that off and then they bring everything out that hallway, and it shouldn't affect students at all, other than they can't use the gym, which we started the school year not being able to use one of the gyms. So Tara's already a pro.
There's asbestos in the concrete, or was it tiles or something?
Concrete.
Wow, so all the concrete has to come up?
No, it's like a coating, it's like a seal, it's like an oil-based seal,
Gotcha.
so to speak, that's got asbestos in it.
It'll
be grinded up.
We got lucky at the high school because we were worried about it when we did the high school project. When they tested it, there wasn't any at the high school, but there is at the middle school. So, good question. Any others? All right, so let's do some action then. Board action to seek bids for MMS Hash Gym renovation. So we will work with the Upchurch Group to plan this project and create the RFP for bidding. Remove the gym floor, asbestos abatement, replace entry doors and paint walls and ceiling. The administrative team recommends the board seek bids for the MMS Hash Gym renovation.
Just for clarity, Ryan, here, Dad just asked, do we also need to replace the gym floor after we remove it? And the answer is yes, but that's gonna come through the TIPS or the Omnia process, not through Upchurch at this point.
I see.
So
Okay.
there's a little deviation from
Understood.
that, so just to offer some clarity.
Okay, thank you.
And again, that's the whole, we got to go out to bid because of the 3-month probably to do
Right.
timing to get a bid in and accept it. So.
Okay, do I have a motion to direct the administration to seek bids as presented by Mr. Gear with regards to the middle school hash gym? Motion by John Hedges, second. Second by Cheryl Armstrong. Is there any discussion on the board? Callie?
Overton,
Yes.
Uphoff,
Yes.
Armstrong,
Yes.
Branson,
Yes.
Erb,
Yes.
Hedges,
Yes.
Ryder.
Yes.
All right, I'm getting there. 4.6, board action to apply for and submit the ISB school maintenance project grant. ISB is offering a 2025 fiscal year school maintenance project grant as a dollar for dollar match. That awards up to $50,000 exclusively for maintenance and upkeep of building structures, and applying for the grant to offset some of the costs of the gym renovation. So the administrative team recommends the board approve the pursuit of this grant opportunity.
Do I have a motion to direct the administration to apply for the ISBE school maintenance grant?
Yes.
Motion by John Hedges, second by Dave Erb. Is there any discussion on the board? Callie?
Uphoff,
Yes.
Armstrong,
Yes.
Branson,
Yes.
Erb,
Yes.
Hedges,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Ryder.
Yes.
4.7, board action to seek bids for MMS cafeteria upgrades. We will work with BLDD Architects to plan this project and create the RFP for bidding. The administrative team recommends that the Board of Education seek bids for the MMS cafeteria upgrades.
Do I have a motion to seek bids as presented by Mr. Beard?
Yes.
Motion by Ashley Overton. Is there a second?
Yes.
Second by Jake Uphoff. Discussion on the board? Callie?
Armstrong,
Yes.
Branson,
Yes.
Erb,
Yes.
Hedges,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Uphoff,
Yes.
Ryder.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 5 on the agenda, reports and recommendations of the Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources. Dr. Scossi.
Thank you. Board has before them the October personnel report. Certified resignations done. Moving down to certified appointments, we're recommending Jamie Duncan as Williams Elementary School LDS 1 teacher effective January 5, 2026. Excited to pick up a mid-year grad in that area. Roxanne Cornbeeks, substitute teacher effective immediately. Danielle Jordan is substitute teacher effective immediately. Kristen Ray is substitute psychologist effective immediately. Aaron Seaman is substitute teacher effective immediately. And Taylor Westmeyer is substitute teacher effective immediately. Classified resignations, Susan Baughman is resigning as William Elementary School Supervisor effective September 9th, 2025. And we have Jessica Bogan is resigning as Mattoon Middle School Classroom Parapro effective September 8th, 2025. Elizabeth McClellan is resigning, is resigning as Rural Elementary School Supervisor effective September 30th, 2025. Tracy Peterson is resigning as Williams Elementary School Secretary effective October 1, 2025. And Kevin Wente is going to retire as Williams Elementary School Head Custodian effective March 8, of 2027. At that time, Kevin will have worked 35 years as a custodian. Good guy. Everybody really enjoys Kevin. He keeps one of the cleanest buildings in the district. Does a really good job at custodian at Williams, so you'll only miss. Classified appointments. Making some recommendations here. Natasha Carter, Mattoon Middle School Parapro effective immediately. Emily Hall, recommended as Brill Elementary School 101 Para effective immediately. Jalen Logan as District Integration and Technology Specialist effective immediately. Brittany Stumpf as Williams Elementary School Supervisor effective immediately. Terry Bond as Williams Elementary School Supervisor effective immediately. Classified appointments continuing. Shelby Bass as Substitute Parapro effective immediately. Richard Fleming is substitute bus driver effective immediately. Michelle Glasscock is substitute bus driver effective immediately. Vivian Harding as substitute parapro effective immediately. Autumn Morgan is substitute bus driver effective immediately. Scott Turner is substitute parapro effective immediately. And then the remainder of that list are volunteers. It's pumpkin season. So if people want to go on field trips with kids and classes, that's great. Extracurricular resignations. Kate Bush is resigning as Mattoon High School Assistant Varsity Girls Track Coach effective September 17th, 2025. And the extracurricular assignments, recommending Lisa Hubbard as Mattoon Middle School 8th grade volleyball coach effective immediately. James Sharp as Mattoon Middle School Lighthouse coordinator effective immediately. And then Amy Cruz, Mattoon High School spectator sponsor effective immediately. Are there any questions? Seeing none, I would recommend the personnel report as presented.
Is there a motion to approve the personnel report as presented?
Motion.
Motion from Mr. Branson, second. Second from Mr. Hedges. Discussion on the board? Callie?
Branson,
Yes.
Erb,
Yes.
Hedges,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Uphoff,
Yes.
Armstrong,
Yes.
Ryder.
Yes. All right. Reports and recommendations.
I'll get it there. Thanks.
The superintendent, Condren.
Yes, so I'd like to take an opportunity, annually this comes around, to recognize our administrators in the building, principals, assistant principals, and dean of students. And typically, they're reserved a day in Illinois, right, to honor what they do to provide for our students. But we all know day in and day out the effort that they put in, and I'm grateful for each of you and what you do. And I've got a short little video here that you guys don't know about yet. And I do want to give some credit before I get this started. Rachel, you're in the room. Thanks for helping us out with this. Their instructional coaches from the buildings assisted Callie and Katie to put some of this stuff together. So Enjoy.
Where do you live, Mrs. Holt?
She helps me feel better when I care for her. You're my best friend. I appreciate this class because she's nice and funny. I appreciate Mrs. Claus because how good she runs the school. I also appreciate her because she is also really nice to her students.
I like Mr. Whale because he's very respectful, very nice, and he does a lot of things to help out the school district.
I like Mr. Earl because he's a kind and fun teacher. My name is Preston. I'm a second grader in the school. Here are the things I love about Mr. Schaefer. He protects us, he's humorous, and he gives lots of hugs. I'm Jesse Jones, and I'm a second grader in Williams. These are the things I love about Mr. Schaefer. And he's very confident, he's kind, he protects our school and keeps us safe. And he's the best. And he always keeps us safe because he's the best. And he's everything will always be. And I love Mr. Schaefer. My name is Kelly, and I appreciate Miss Tressel because she moves his kids down by working kind and not moving around. She also makes our building feel like a safe learning environment.
My name is Judy, and I'm thankful for Miss Russell because she helps in the cafeteria. She passes out ketchup and sauce. She helps to make the business quietly and safe.
Trussell coming through with the ketchup.
Every day.
Ruth Coleman, and I appreciate Miss Stewart because of her leadership towards both students and staff.
And Miss Stewart motivates us to do our best.
Hi, I'm Jackson Wells, and I appreciate Miss Bogle because she's always kind and respectful.
I'm Patrick Matthews, and I like Mrs. Bogle because she's fun, kind, and always supports everything in her own way.
Hi, I'm Nick, and I appreciate Mr. Young because he's always looking hard and he's trying to do better.
I'm Lady Courtney, and I appreciate Mr. Young because he always listens to our opinions and tries to help.
So what I really like about Mr. Stewart is that he advocates for all the students and cares about all of us, and he gives us numerous opportunities to shine and to succeed.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart, for always being helpful.
Miss Kaiser is always sweet and smiling, and it's really nice to see her every day.
She's nice to my friends, she's fun, I really enjoy how she is so kind to others.
I love how Kimbrough always pushes us to be better and improve every day.
So, Mr. Kimbrough, so I just want to say thank you for supporting our schools and walking the hallways and making so clear. Then I thank you for being the coach on the track team and the football team. The sports really need some discipline.
I appreciate Mr. Beckett because he's allowing me to do study tables here at MHS for student athletes.
I really appreciate how Mr. Duckett is always so inviting and always listens to our ideas. Let's make our athletic and academic lives just more inclusive and fun.
My name is Carly, and I'm from Matthews High School. I appreciate that he has a bunch of new ideas to bring, and he stepped in for Liv, never needed any direction.
I'm Casey Torres, I'm from Madison High School, and I appreciate that he takes time out of his day to connect with me on a student and supervisor level, and he's asking how I'm doing, and it makes my day better.
My name is Claire Bortenstein, and I'm from Matson. I appreciate that he is funny and a joy to this place.
My name is Kevin McWhorter. I'm from Stewart Central First High School. I'm attending my first and sadly last year of Lift. Mr. Chris Brown, as far as I've dealt with him, has come to be an excellent both teacher and step-in director throughout this school year's program. He has also taken on several additional tasks this year throughout the situation that Lift has gone through with missing a full-time director.
Please extend our appreciation for all they do. Yeah, this is where you go into 7.
Yeah, item 7 on the agenda, reports and recommendations of other district personnel.
All right, so I got a few things this evening. First off, what I want to do is extend appreciation to our administrative team, also our coaches and staff for the work they put in each and every day. Back in May, school had been out for like a couple days, and we get a big group together to start talking about how do we start planning for the coming school year. And so 7.1 is just informational here. There won't be any board approval needed here, but just to kind of give you an update on where our school improvement plans are for this school year. We really focus on aligned improvement efforts, and some of these common elements that we see in this are that we do utilize the 4 disciplines of execution. So we're all focused on common language within the district, and in using that common language through wildly important goals. Those goals are established, and I'll speak about each level of where they're established here in a minute. But we also then utilize our lead measures in order to keep us on that trajectory to meeting those goals, and keeping relevant scoreboards, as well as utilizing accountability partners within the buildings. And so this is all common throughout the district. Everyone has a goal. These goals are it's enhanced, it's aligned, and it's combined in a collaborative effort. We have district goals, which we'll talk about here in a minute. We have school goals, which we'll talk about here in a minute. And then those filter down into the grade levels, teachers, and then students having their own individual WIGs as well too, that they are striving for. You heard earlier from the students as they presented, talking about having goals even for Green and Gold Day on things that they wanted to be able to accomplish. So there's goals that are being set throughout. We also look at thematic teams, and so looking at ways that we can monitor progress, share those successes, and make adjustments for improvement throughout the year as time goes on as well. We do have three systems teams that exist within our district. Each building then also has action teams that are aligned to those system teams. And then they have professional learning communities within each of the buildings as well too, along with having dynamic student teams that help lead from within as well. So to kind of give it a little bit of a framework here, really our end in mind is, as we focus on academics, leadership, and culture as those 3 pillars, are really looking at, in along the lines of academics, engage students who are equipped to achieve and entrusted to lead their own learning. That's what we want to be seeing throughout. Within the leadership umbrella, looking at effective students and adults who are leaders in their school and community. And then as far as culture, developing a high trust school culture where each person's voice is heard and their potential is then affirmed as well too. So for this school year, again, starting back in May, throughout the summer, and here into the fall, we really wanted to align those improvement efforts in each of those areas. For academics, English, language arts, and math. For leadership, looking at classroom-based discipline referrals. Last year, we had an overarching theme, and the data was showing that we needed to target a little bit more on the classroom-based side of things this year. For culture, looking at chronic absenteeism as a continuation from last year, just looking at absenteeism as a whole. So really honing in on these things. There's a variety of data sources that we utilize in each of those areas. Obviously, common assessments and state testing, as well as our district programs and student management programs, as well as surveys that we give for the culture side of things. That data that's collected, we honestly have more data at our fingertips than we've probably ever had before. And so to be able to triangulate that in most areas to use to help us set good, solid, achievable goals is extremely important. So these are our goals for this school year. First of all, under the academics, looking at increasing from 39% to 50% student proficiency in ELA as measured by the IAR, which is the Illinois Assessment for Readiness for our elementary students, and also ACT for high school students by May of 2026. We also looked at increasing from a math standpoint, looking at increasing from 20.75% to 25% students proficient in math as measured by IAR and ACT by May of 2026. From a leadership standpoint, looking at, again, those classroom-based referrals, looking at a reduction of 25% in those by May of 2026 based on last year's data. And under culture, looking at reducing the number of chronically absent students by 25% as well too. And so those are some of our targeted areas for the district. Now, as we take a look at those, we want to look at what does this look like at each individual building. And so we'll start out here with the elementary. You'll see some common themes throughout, obviously, some numbers attached to those percentages there. At Riddle, for the academic side of things, Riddle is going to be focused on improving the ELA proficiency on IAR from 44% meeting and exceeding to 55% by May of 2026. They are also on the math side of things, looking to improve math proficiency from 33% meeting and exceeding to 42% by May of 2026. Some of the lead measures that they're utilizing at Riddle are really looking at research-based explicit instruction and vocabulary and writing daily. From a math standpoint, some manipulative work, also differentiated lessons and some problem-solving strategies there. From a leadership lens, Riddle is going to be working to increase the number of students following classroom expectations from 76% in 24-25 to 85% by May of 2026. And with this, they're looking at utilizing some intervention through meetings weekly based on their data, and then also looking at specific goal setting within those areas. From a culture lens, Riddle's looking at reducing the number of chronically absent students from 17%, which happened to be 90 students last year, to 10% this coming year. 53 students would be what that was if enrollment doesn't change, right? So that's what they're looking at there. They are looking, some of their lead measures involve looking at event tracking and to determine participation, to get students more engaged and feel more comfort there within the school walls, as well as checking in and providing leadership opportunities to students in the mornings before school. Williams is, you'll see some similarities here, is looking to increase the number of students meeting and exceeding from 53.5 to 60% by May of 26. And in math, looking at increasing that number from 43.8% to 50% by May of 26 as well. From a academic lens, their work within those lead measures are really based around some things like phonemic awareness lessons daily, using interactive IAR reading passages with some example questions at least once a week, and then students are increasing their writing opportunities as well too. Within the leadership pillar, they are looking to reduce the number of office discipline referrals by 25%, from 425 to 318 by May of 2026. And they're utilizing some school-wide direct lessons daily, as well as students who might need a little bit of additional support, offering some small groups this year. Within the culture lens, the WIG that they have established there is to reduce that chronically absent number from 119 to 89 by May of 2026 to fit that 25% threshold. And within those lines, they are utilizing an incentive program for their students who were identified as chronically absent last year, in order to get them off on the right foot here this fall. And they also have 2 or 3 other strategies from last year that they're continuing to utilize that were very helpful in getting their attendance numbers where they wanted to see them last year as well. For Mat 2 Middle School, their goals there are to grow from 42% of students meeting and exceeding on the 2025 IR to 53% by May of 2026. And in math, looking at growth from 20% to 25% of students meeting and exceeding by that same date. They are working on specifically writing and receiving feedback, utilizing the IAR rubric. They're also looking at lessons on response to informational text, and also videos utilizing a specific framework. And then they're also looking at utilizing lessons that focus on primary and secondary sources for gathering evidence as well too in some of their core instructional areas. As far as leadership goes, looking at reducing the number of office discipline referrals in the classroom setting again by 25% from 412 to 309. And then in culture, reducing the number of chronically absent students, again, that 25% number there, from 179 to 134 as well. The next two, I'm sorry, not the next two. We'll get high school in first, and then I'll go on to the next two. Franklin and Lift, you're going to see are a little bit unique as they have a little bit different environments. But high school wise, they have academic goals of growing in ELA proficiency from 45 to 52% by May, and in math proficiency from 29% to 34% by May. As far as leadership, looking at a reduction in those office discipline referrals in the classroom setting, moving it from 219 to 164 by May. And also looking at chronic absenteeism, moving that number from 235 to 176 by May. And some of the lead measures that the high school is using, looking at workshop model being utilized at least 2 times per week, research-based literacy instructional strategies implemented in the classroom, skill application that's connected to the scale work at least twice a week, and then doing some more ACT problem solving and other strategies there 5 times per week per class, right? As well as some of the other things that they're doing, working with PLC groups to support student behaviors, as well as attendance needs that might exist, along with some mentorship there, as well as helping out with teacher support for coaching cycles as it might be needed. So looking at Franklin, again, a little bit unique in the littles, but they are working really hard to move from An average of 4.2 to 4.5 on the core reading book enjoyment and knowledge by the end of the third trimester. Now that sounds really, really different than what we see in those other ones, but they're actually working really hard to provide materials for families, so and through a monthly support and promoting reading from home for parents as well by doing that. And then in math, looking at improving from a 4.02 to a 4.2 with numbers and counting by the end of the third trimester. And they're doing some rote counting exposure daily with use of math manipulatives in those areas to help improve those scores. From a leadership lens, they are looking to reduce the number of behavioral incidents in the classroom from 15 to 10%. They are utilizing, they're doing a book study with their staff, as well as utilizing a new system for behavior tracking in the building as well. So from a culture lens, Franklin will reduce the number of chronically absent students from 25 to 20 by May of 2026. Unique thing about Franklin is their attendance is pretty phenomenal. The kids want to be there. They're engaged, highly engaged parents, and I know I can say many of us have looked to what Franklin does from that engagement lens to kind of try to capitalize on ways to get our families more involved. So they'll be doing regular family check-ins. They also have student-led conferences slated with student portfolios. If you've never seen a preschool student lead their own parent-teacher conference using their portfolios, it's pretty remarkable. It's pretty fun to watch. So that's what they have. From a LIFT standpoint, LIFT again, a little unique in this. They are going to work to move their students to an 80% on tier 1 of their portrait of a graduate by the end of the first semester, and they're also going to then implement that for the end of the second semester there as well too. Portrait of graduate, their facilitators will be scheduling tier 1 appointments at least one per month, I think is right, Chris? And that's how they are working towards that. Got to see some data the other day, and they're trucking right along, getting things going. And looking at increasing their from 53% of students receiving micro-credentials for Leader in Me to 85% of students by the end of May of 2026. And one of the things they'll do with this is they're going to have accountability sessions, or have been having accountability sessions weekly on highly effective practices. And also students are reporting on their progress on a bi-weekly basis to achieve that. From a culture umbrella, looking at enrollment, wanting to move that number from 217 to 250 students being enrolled by fall of 2026. Again, there's no board action necessary. That's a lot of information, but our teams have been working really hard to get these, have these things, these WIGs and lead measures moving at the beginning of the year. Does the board have any questions? Yeah.
Regarding the absentee, you mentioned that there's some incentives that the district has in place for like middle school, high school. Can you kind of touch on that a little bit?
Do you guys want to share some of the incentives that you guys have in place?
Well, Claire's got a big incentive to so you share that, Claire.
Well, I am taking 200 middle school students who have earned perfect attendance for the first 9 weeks to Fox Ridge tomorrow. So we will pray for good weather and that everything goes smoothly.
But how about second quarter?
And then for second quarter, we wanted to do something that's more for anybody, any day, instead of, like everyone's like, oh, I don't want any doctor's appointments right now because I really want to go on the field trip. But we're going to do present today, pizza on the way. So if they are present in the cafeteria, we have labeled all of our seats. And so if you are at table 10, seat 5, or whatever it is that day, then you get a pizza that day. So it's just at random, and they never know which seat is going to be picked and which lunch periods, but just trying to get them there every day.
Those are our incentives, but we still have our attendance plans in place from last year. So our DEN teachers are still meeting and conferencing with students. We're still reaching out to families, trying to figure out what is the barrier and how can we assist in that way as well.
And the unique thing about the lead measures are that we want, what we've done and what works, we continue to do. We continue to strive to create new and maybe even more engaging lead measures that will help us improve those numbers. So what they've been doing, when it works, we keep doing it, and then we add more strategies to try to improve that attendance. So
It's a very tough battle.
It is hard.
John and I have been in law enforcement. We've dealt with it firsthand, and my hat goes off to you because it's you're dealing with parental malfunction too to some degree. The parents don't want to, their children, they're not forcing their kids to go to school. So how do you deal with that? That's always a difficult one, in my opinion.
Rich, you want to share what you guys
Yeah.
have in place with the high school?
We've adjusted some of our incentives. Previously, we had some incentives that took kids off campus for being at school. And some people were like, oh, that might seem counterintuitive. So we took that feedback and acted on it. And so we're providing a little bit something from the old. The middle school has Pause Store. And while it's not going to be Pause Store, it's going to be reminiscent of that. And that students actually had a lot to say and put in with earning and then running it like, we're going to run it like a checking account because we actually want to try to build in some life skills. So as they're earning points for attendance and other things, they're actually going to be able to recoup those and spend those and check in the balance. And, it's going to be like Quicken, right? I mean, I know that's for us older folks, right? You guys, you guys don't. And then mentioned we transitioned, we've always had meetings where we've met every week as grade, but we've shifted that into called On Track. And it's a really big shift because we're meeting grade level core content areas. We have PE and CTE meeting separately every single week as they're individuals, as they're working on very specifically CTE, right? It's all about getting ready for that job, that next step in life. PE, physical health. If you're healthier, you're going to be at school, you're going to perform better, all those things, right? On track, hey, are you here? Are you doing the right things? Are you in the right place? All that. And then in those meetings, when we're pulling apart why is a student maybe is or isn't, we're individually taking on meeting with that student ongoing for weeks and contacting the parent and building that. If we see improvement, hey, we're going to monitor, keep on. If we don't see that, we're going to try to pull in for more and more intensive supports involving people outside of that. In the On Track, I should also mention that we have special ed teachers, an administrator, and guidance counselor in every single one of those. So really wrapping all those supports every other week around taking care of the kids' grades, attendance, behaviors. And that's what we feel like we've never been so intentional and so intense with those. We feel like we're gonna have a really good result. We're seeing some results.
Well, I appreciate all your efforts because that's a tough job.
Thank you so much.
I know it's every day's a struggle when it comes to that, and keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions?
Remind me, the goals that you just went through are set by the systems teams in those three areas?
So the goals were set by the administrative teams, coaches, teachers, representative of all of those systems teams, yes. Met at the end of the year to discuss progress on our previous goals and then where we need to start to begin this school year. From there, then the systems teams, as they meet on a regular basis, their job is to help assist in keeping us on path to achieve.
Tracking, yeah. So I have talked about this before, but it's been several months. The systems teams to which we're referring are wildly impressive to me. When I first joined the board and I heard that I was going to be on, and every board member is on at least one systems team. When I heard that I was going to be joining a systems team, I was like, okay, that seems very fashionable language. I wonder what's going on here. And it's just grinded out. There are teachers, administrators, and parents from every building on every one of those systems teams. And it is a marvel to watch the conversations that go on during these meetings, and in particular, the willingness of these staff members to look at one another and, you know, a parent, whoever, and say, yeah, we're not getting this done. We're not getting where we want to be. Does anyone have any ideas? And other people saying, yeah, well, actually, this is working in our building. I mean, it's a terrific process. The numbers, our numbers are getting better, and I think it gets driven by these systems teams and the trust that these people have developed amongst one another to be open about what's going on in their buildings. Kudos to everybody who is a member of one of those teams.
I agree.
Thank you.
Cheryl?
And this is really probably more aimed at the principals, and maybe it's aimed for next week at academic systems. But we've had a fall benchmarking. Have we noticed a difference in tier 3, tier 2? I mean, are we having fewer students that are testing for that to qualify for more services, or is there like yeah, I don't know. And maybe it's more for next week.
And again, the responsiveness of having that data available is what's so key.
Exactly.
We have it earlier than we've ever been able to have it before, and it's very very beneficial for early intervention. You know, as the school year gets started. I mean, these folks are meeting in problem solving teams for students in need right out of the gates, and some of that's because we have data available from last year, and we can hit the ground running. As I kind of mentioned, some of their lead measures are centered around what they've ended the year with to get this year started off. So yeah.
Well, excuse me, before you sit down, you were just introduced as other district personnel. So for people who aren't here, can you say who you are?
I'm Chad Arnold, Assistant Superintendent. Yes.
And then, are you leading this, or are you spokesperson?
This presentation piece?
Correct.
Yeah. I'm on each of the 3 systems teams, and then work with the administrators on their end as well. So,
Okay, great, thank you.
Anybody else? If not, 7.2 is the LIFT course code updates. This one will require action. If you will recall, last year there were some course codes that were updated, and part of this was to provide us with some specific CTE or career to technical education funding that was available for us being an area career center. And so there are a few more codes, and working with the LIFT team and EFES that we did find could help us a little bit more. These code changes will not require there's no change in course descriptions, there's no changes in content or curriculum. There's simply a change in course codes that is available. Changes that we are proposing tonight have been all approved unanimously by the Curriculum Coordinating Committee at the September meeting. And so just real quickly kind of go through these. Green area, HVAC and green energy, as well as leadership, are the areas that you'll see this evening. So basically just looking at changing the course codes for these. Course code currently with HVAC 3, changing that to an architecture and construction work experience course code. Again, opens up more opportunities potentially there. Looking at also adding automotive technician for EV technologies that take place in that green energy program, as well as small vehicle mechanics and transportation distribution and logistics workplace experience. Again, those along with leadership, we've got leadership advantage is the current course code that we have, looking to have that changed to business principles and management, so that it can align with what the state requires for funding on that. Course code for management workplace experience, changing that to business management and administration workplace experience. And last but not least, the entrepreneurial workplace experience, changing that to human resources workplace experience. Again, changing these is not changing anything that's being done in the program. It's just simply opening up opportunities for us as an area vocational center to receive funding more potentially from the state.
So we're changing titles or number and letter designations of courses so that we can be language compliant with the state and the CTE program.
Yep, and this is very similar. I think the board had an approval maybe back in the spring for some other courses as well. These were some that came up over the summer, so.
Do I have a motion to make the course reference changes as presented?
Yes.
Motion by Jake Uphoff, second. Yes, second by Ashley Overton. Is there any discussion on the board? Callie?
Ertz,
Yes.
Hedges,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Uphoff,
Yes.
Armstrong,
Yes.
Branson,
Yes.
Ryder.
Yes.
Thank you. 7.3, MHS sealed by literacy. CCC actually had an opportunity to hear from Ms. Pichetta and Mr. Stewart, as well as representing their team, looking at some possibilities for recognition for high school graduates. ISB offers a state level recognition called the Seal of Biliteracy. This is awarded to high proficiency speaking students in English and one other language for high school students. It is an official designation on their transcript, and it does also go on their diploma as well. It does translate to a foreign language course credit at Illinois Public Colleges and Universities as well. And so appreciate the fact that they brought this to our attention to look into further. Basically, the requirements are listed there. They basically have to achieve one of those top 4 blocks bullets and one of the bottom 3 bullets there in order to hit proficiency in each of those 2 areas of English and world language. If they do achieve those 2, then they would receive a seal on a biliteracy seal on their transcript, and again, that college credit. Now, there is also a commendation towards biliteracy, and this is an alternative recognition. So if students maybe didn't meet all of the seal approvals that I mentioned here, or enough of them here, there is a little bit of a lower proficiency threshold here where students can still be recognized on their diploma as having a commendation for biliteracy. It does not include obviously the college credit, but it does, the recognition does go on their transcript and diploma. And again, those are the differences, are the Access and Apple form scores are a little bit lower as far as the proficiency threshold. Timeline for this, we presented to CCC. There was a deadline of October 1st to getting the application and intent filed. That was done. There's annual training that Mr. Stewart has got to go through, I believe, right? And during the year, basically, he and the team at the high school worked to determine that qualification pathway, help establish any student supports for students who are interested in this, and plan for recognition and kind of update communication as time goes. Then before graduation happens, those who qualify would be able to have those seals applied and those accommodations applied to their diplomas, and those transcripts are updated for us to upload to the state. Again, this isn't anything that requires action. Just want to give you an update. It was awesome to see staff advocating for their students to be able to potentially achieve this accommodation with the state and be recognized for their work that they do. So, any questions that anybody has for that?
Yeah, so I think it's wonderful, number one, but so any Illinois university will give them college credit for that. So
If they
that's gonna
have,
take- Wow, that's awesome. Yeah.
So yeah,
And
that's
how many students do we think are gonna be
well,
proficient?
that's a great question. Holly was asked that same question at CCC.
We're hopeful for 6.
Yeah.
That's our hope.
Well, because I know after taking a couple of years of a foreign language in high school, I was not proficient. Yeah, I was just curious to see how many.
Worth a shot. Any other questions? All right. The last thing is accelerated learning plans on 7.4. Again, this does not require board action, just more of an update here. State requirements under 105 ILCS 54A30-32 requires some parameters be met, most of which we already many of which we are already doing, but requires open eligibility for students to be eligible for advancement in their coursework. And basically, the rationale behind this is that the state wants to ensure that students are receiving fair and transparent processes to access coursework that is more rigorous in their area of need, making equitable decisions involving stakeholders. It also requires automatic enrollment into more rigorous courses where students who meet state standards on the assessments in ELA, math, or science would have to be automatically enrolled into the most rigorous coursework. And it offers through that more accelerated options throughout the state, from early entrance to school to graduation acceleration, single subject acceleration, and so on, to include honors and advanced placement types of things that we already offer. Our why behind that as a district is that we want to look at we obviously value diverse learning styles and preferences and paces for our students. Also understanding that every student learns differently and striving to meet each student's unique needs, whether those unique needs require us to come alongside them or to help offer them advancement. Strong student supports of initiating and working towards personal goals is another big why for our district. And we are committed to provide coursework that provides these opportunities for extended growth. So again, as we look at each of these, the elementary buildings will be offering acceleration through daily 30-minute WIN blocks, stands for What I Need, and also ELA blocks. Students then who score proficient or above on MAP in that 78th percentile or higher and IAR will have eligibility to participate in that during that time frame. And they will use the next grade level proficiency scales to kind of help guide that instruction for those students. WIN is already built into our day, and so it's just basically providing another opportunity for our students to excel. From Matthew Middle School, looking at accelerated courses in math and ELA to qualifying students. And at the middle school, in order to qualify there, they have to score a 4 on their IAR, math, or ELA, depending on which course it is, or both, if that's the case. Also demonstrate proficiency in all current grade math and ELA scales, scoring a 3 on IAR math and be in the 78th percentile or higher on math. They will do onboarding to start at the beginning of the semester once those criteria are met. And so that's what the middle school has planned there. High school, students who meet or exceed on state standards, they're in ELA, math, or science, they're just going to be automatically enrolled into those honors level courses. And so, again, a lot of these practices are things that we already do. It's just a matter of making sure that we had CCC take a look at it and kind of solidified those processes. Any questions on the accelerated?
Questions for the board?
I have one. I know it's late. I'm sorry. I'm lucky enough to sit on CCC, so I'm embarrassed that I have a question because I've listened to this presentation once already. But specifically at the high school, is there the word automatically, is that the only difference? If you go back to that slide, Chad, is that different, or has that already been that?
We've already been pushing that about 3 or 4 years ago, probably 4 now. We really started looking at the MAP results because that was newer to the high school at that time.
Okay.
And people were like, what are we going to do with that in addition to like diagnostic and helping instruction?
Yeah.
Really looking at, well, how do students get into honors? So having some data besides just a teacher recommendation or a parent request. We started using data back then. So yeah, this
doesn't take much from what you've been doing the past week.
Yeah, for the elementary and middle school, the perspective was delayed this year, just so for clarity purposes, that the state delayed the, announcement of the cut scores until what I believe was the first part of September, maybe the last week of August. So a part of that change has been due to the delay because you can't come up with the 78th percentile until you know what those cut scores actually arrive at. So Again, no action at this point, but just wanted to share with the board so they're aware that these are our acceleration plans and they're available to students. If they have any questions.
I'm glad to see it, because I know we don't really fund gifted programs anymore, so I think we need a challenge in our kids who need a challenge, to stay engaged, and I think that's good.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to agenda item 9.1, new business. Tim, you want to take that?
Sure. So back at the special board meeting on August 27th, the board worked to complete some updated standard operating procedures for the district. The board has copies of those that were provided by Katie Bulova from the Illinois Association of School Boards. And if you have any questions, no action on that, but would ask that the board review those to then seek approval of that at the upcoming November board meeting. So if you have any questions or anything, please reach out to either President Ryder or myself or any of our administrative team.
Okay. You got a quick for us?
I do have a few quick updates to kind of wrap up this evening, but first thing, last Friday wrapped up our end of the first quarter. Hard to believe that we've kind of flown through that in such a short time. Mr. Arnold alluded to this, that we've got student-led conferences coming up this Thursday after school evening, as well as Friday. No student attendance on Friday unless students are coming to present their portfolios for student conferences. Also a reminder just to the general public that we have one of our first of 3 early dismissals. Those are new to us. They're coming back to us, I guess, in the calendar this year. They are 2.5-hour early dismissals. The first one will be on November 10th. Just to share that so people are aware. If you'd like to know what those schedules look like for dismissal times, please log into our website. You can find those on each of our schools' website on Williams, Riddle, Middle, High School, Franklin as well. And then the last thing, also with November, the board meeting that would typically be on November 11th has been moved to November 12th. So that's also listed on our district website on the list of the board meetings, dates and times. That is due to Veterans Day being observed on the 11th. That's all I have.
Any questions, board members? All righty. So now the board is going to retire to executive session. And I want to go ahead and go through the components of that. Item 10.1, to discuss matters pertaining to student discipline. Item 10.2, to discuss matters pertaining to the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees. And 10.3, discuss matters related to probable, imminent, or pending litigation. We will not have any substantive action after we return back from executive session. So you're welcome to hang around for a couple hours if you want. I don't recommend it. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and entertain a motion for the board to retire to executive session to discuss the items that I listed previously. Motion from Ashley Overton, second from Cheryl Armstrong. Callie?
Hedges,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Uphoff,
Yes.
Armstrong, yes, Branson,
Yes.
Earth,
Yes.
Ryder.
Yes. Have a good evening, everybody.
Good job.